What's up my peeps, Monstep here and welcome back for another patcher tutorial. So in my how to make a file track tutorial, I've shown you how to create some links, some signals, and add some VSTs to those signals to, for example, separate the sub from everything else and stuff like that. But I didn't show you how to use the surface tab, how you could add some knobs to control the VSTs you have inside the map tab. Someone asked me to do that, so huge thanks to you, because honestly this is not something I thought about making, so huge shout out to you. Okay, so to do not get lost, I highly recommend you to watch my fat track tutorial, so link will be down in the description of course. And once again, to do not get lost, I redo everything I did on my tutorial. So yeah, let's start. Let's say that I want to add a knob to control the tube distortion of Camel Crusher. So let's go to the surface tab. Let's close that. Right click, and here you already have some controls you can add, some standard controls from Patcher, but if you want some more fancy stuff you can open the control creator. And as you can see here, you can literally do whatever you want, change the color of the knob, the size and style of it. At the top left corner you can switch to the slider. So same thing here, you can change everything you want, and same for the button. Which is pretty cool is the randomize button. And if you do actually use some of the random controls, don't forget to save the preset. Okay, so for myself I need a knob, so let's take this one. The first thing I recommend you to do is to name your controls right away, because it's pretty easy to get lost as soon as you have a bunch of control. So for this one I already know that I want to control the tube, so let's call it tube. You can change the size manually by dragging this arrow here, or you can right click and go to size and choose some specific sizes. By the way, you have a bunch of options here. You can change the color of the gear, the cap, the feel, and everything else here. You can also change the style of it and also the properties and the size that I already showed you. So also something really handy if you actually want to make your own VST, your own plugin with Patcher, is to add a grid. So right click like everywhere on the surface tab and go to grid and choose how many pixels you want. So let's go for 30. And this will allows you to snap it to the grid, and it's pretty handy when you have other knobs. Now let's say I want to try the knob and I want to turn it. If I do so, as you can see, it doesn't work. It's just moving the knob around. It's because you have to get out of the edit mode, so you can right click anywhere and enable the edit option here. Or you can click on E, or you can also click on the wrench icon here. And now as you can see, I can turn the knob. So before to link this control to the Camel Crusher, we have to activate it. So once you are out of the edit mode, you can right click on your knob and click on activate. So now when you go back to the map tab, as you can see here, we have two red dots. I don't actually know what is the difference between those two red dots, but anyway, so this means we have created an input signal. So now we want to control this knob, right? By the way, if you want to control something on a stock plugin of FL Studio, all you have to do is to right click on the thing you want to control and to hit activate, and it'll, as you can see here, it will add an input. So basically the left side means input and the right side means output. But for third-party VSTs like Camel Crusher, Camel Crusher is not a stock plugin of FL. If I right click on the knob that I want to control, as you can see, I don't have the activate option, but that doesn't mean it's impossible to control that. In fact, you have to right click here, and here are the inputs and outputs. So go to inputs, parameters, and here you have everything you have inside of your VST. So for myself, I need to activate the dist tube here, and it added an input. So now I can link my knob to this input, just like that. So let me open the camera cursor, let's go back to the surface tab, and now if I move my knob, as you can see, it's also moving the tube knob, and just like that. So it's pretty simple. Obviously you can add a bunch of knobs to control everything you want. So let's make another knob for the mech here. You can drag and drop our knob here, change the size, whatever, rename that, go outside of the edit mode, right click, activate, go back to the map tab, and now we need an input parameters again, this mech, and now I can link the knob to this input. So now I'm controlling the mech knob of the comic crusher. And it's the same thing with the sliders. So let me just grab a random slider, this one. So again, rename it, get out of the edit mode, right click again, activate, go back to the map tab. For this one, I don't know, let's say I want to change maybe this. So I can right click and activate. So now we have our inputs. Let's connect the sliders to this one. And now, as you can see, it's working. By the way, you can also add a preset value to your knobs. So for example, if I want my initial position for my slider right here, go back to the edit mode first. Now right click and click on set default value. So now if I go back again of the edit mode and I move it around, I can right click and reset it. It's the same thing for the knobs. Right click, set default value. Now if I move it and then right click again, I can reset it. Now for the buttons, trust me or not, but I struggle a lot. For the buttons, it's exactly the same thing, you have to do the same manipulation, but it becomes tricky if you want to add a specific value, because a button, it's either 0 or 1. That means it's either off or on. So let's make an example. So let's say I want to mute the sub. So and I want to add a button to mute the sub, like this. So first we need a module or a VST that controls the amplitude or the volume, and for that we can simply use the fruity balance. So I'm going to link the sub to the fruity balance here, just like that. And what I want to do with my button, it's when it's on, mute the sub, so it does this, and when it's off, it go back to its initial value. So the idea is very basic and simple, but to set up a button it's a little bit complicated. So first let me add our first button. So I don't know, let's use this one. There we go. Let's rename it by mute, activate it, go back to the map tab, and now I can activate this knob, the volume knob here, and link the button to the fruity balance. So let's see what it does. So as you can see, the button is working, but the values are inverted. What I want to do here, as I said, when the button is on, it should bring the volume down, and when it's off, it should bring the volume where it was. But as you saw, it goes all the way to plus 5 dB, and that's not what I want. So to fix that, we need another module, and this is where the Fruity Formula controller comes really handy. So open that up. So this is how it looks like. We have three knobs. The A knob means your first value, the B knob your last value, the C knob is literally your button, so it goes from 0 to 1. But before that we need a formula, and I wouldn't be able to find that by my own. Lucky for me, internet is a beautiful thing, and by the way I forgot the formula, let me check that. Okay, here's the formula. You can type on this box, by the way. So here's the formula. I will leave it in the comment section if you want, but you can also pause the video to type it. So for now we are done for the formula controller. We can close that, but we need one input and one output. So right click on it, go to inputs, parameters, and choose C parameter. Now right click again, go to outputs this time, controllers, and choose out. Now let's unlink our button from the fuzzy balance and link it to the formula controller input, and from the formula controller to the fuzzy balance. Link both. Now if I go back to the surface tab, let's try again our button. It doesn't make anything, but if I open the formula controller, we can see here that it's actually changing the C knob. So now with the A and B knob, we can manually add some values. So our first value here on A should be at 0, and when the button is on, I want it to be at 0 dB. So you can right click here and copy the value, go back to the formula controller and paste the value on the B knob this time. So now let's see what it does again. And it's working. So, but it's still inverted. We can quickly fix that by going again into the formula controller and switch those values. So B should be at 0 and A should be at 80%. Now let's check that again. Cool. So if I play it, it is perfectly working, and of course you can do that on other stuff. Now looking at the surface tab, it's looking pretty damn boring and ugly. You can of course add some little bit of style, so maybe we can add some labels. So for example, let's take a rounded one, and you can rename that by distortion. You can of course change the color. You can also add a background to it, so you can also change the color of it. That's looking pretty ugly, but you know, that's how you can make your own VST. And I don't know where to put this one, maybe here, and duplicate this one. Sometimes when you add some bevel, it can appear in front of your knobs. So if it does that, you can simply right click on it and then change the Z order by sending it back. But yeah, overall, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments section if you have any question. I will try to help you if I can. And see you guys into the next one. Peace.